Hello everyone, this is Langfigure, and today we're going to play Silent Hill Origins. So Silent Hill Origins I'm not going to go on for too long, but I just want to mention my history with the game. This will be the second time I've played the game. The first time it was actually the second Silent Hill game I played after Silent Hill 2. I originally got Silent Hill 2 when I was quite a bit younger. I played it on my PlayStation 2. And then a year or two later, I had a PSP, so I got this game and played it. I knew nothing about Silent Hill 1 or 3 or any of the other games. I just knew this was a Silent Hill game, and I wanted to play it. So today I am emulating this on my PC, and I tried to do this before I played Silent Hill 4, but unfortunately, my computer back then was not powerful enough, but I've upgraded. Um, Now, I did download a save for the game, as we'll see here. It's level cleared time 0. Essentially, this is a 100% save. It has everything unlocked. And I downloaded this not because I wanted to cheat my way through the game, but because there is quite a few costumes in the game and quite a few weapons that you get for getting either the good, bad, or the UFO ending that you unlock, and I wanted to get those and show you. But also, more importantly, there's a setting there's an extra options menu after you complete the game once, and it includes an option to turn off the noise filter, which it's so obnoxious in this game, and it's not bad. You know, if you're originally playing this at 4:3 on your smaller CRT TV or on your PSP, the noise filter is actually really nice, but I'm running at a 16:9 1920 times 1080 resolution, so a noise filter just makes it look pretty awful. So we're going to load this, and I'll start up the game, and we'll play Silent Hill Origins. Now, a lot of people say it's not one of the original 4, so it's bad. I would disagree. I always had good memories of this game. I always thought it was pretty good. And the more I read about it, the more I like it. There are some enemies designs that are not too inspired, but at the same time, there's still a meaning to all of them that I can appreciate. So anyways, we're just going to dive right in. Let me make sure everything's working right. Yep, alright. So I'm playing with a controller, and then I have my keyboard for controlling my recording software. So I have to make sure I don't mess anything up here. Okay, let's start the game here. Flowros from Silent Hill 1.
Who'd I just pass there? That you, good buddy?
Treetop tall and wall to wall. Travis, you messed up son of a bitch. What you doing on my road?
Late on a gig, bud. I'm taking the shortcut past Silent Hill. Stopping for coffee as soon as I hit Brahms. I'm beat.
Bad dreams still keeping you awake. I told you, man, a girl or two would go a long way. Sleep like a baby with a chick in your cab.
Guess I just don't meet the right girls, bud.
Maybe if you weren't always blabbering about losing your parents when you were young, how you don't even remember how, why.
Hey, chill. You don't see me bringing up your issues.
No need. My old lady keeps me fully informed of my feelings. The girl keeps notes.
You mean she hasn't left you yet?
Any day now. See you around, Travis. Take it easy.
10-4. Catch you later, buddy. Hey, come back!
Okay, so that little girl in there in the blue dress is, of course, Alessa. At least if you remember from the other games, Alessa's in a blue dress and a little tie and everything. So let me turn down my volume because this game is pretty loud. There's a few things I want to talk about. First, let me go to the inventory and options menu. There's a few things here. You start off originally with the flashlight, the radio, and the lucky quarter. And because we're using the completed save, we have night vision goggles, which you unlock by using the flashlight for less than 3 hours throughout the game. And we can see our notes empty. You can see in the left there's a halo of the sun symbol. And we're going to go to the options. And here's what I was talking about, is the extra options menu. And you only unlock this after you beat the game once. And I'm going to change the default to walk. We'll leave the extra blood on, but the noise filter needs to come off. Bloody footprints, we'll leave it off. And then the torch projection is flashlight for those who aren't British. And so there's the default light, or you can have a smiley face, a soccer ball, a pumpkin, a halo of the sun symbol, or just the normal one. We'll use the normal one for now, but we'll cycle throughout the game. There's a pretty nice song playing, which is, the soundtrack is done by Akira Yamaoka, which is cool. And you can see now it looks a lot better without the noise filter. Unfortunately, there's a crippling bug in the emulation of this game, which is when you emulate a game from PS2 on your PC, there's a few different modes you can use, and we're using right now hardware mode, which uses all of my computers. That girl, did I hit her? I need to catch up with her. Uses all of my computer's resources to make it look this good. It's at a very high resolution, and it's running at 60 FPS solid. Looks gorgeous, really. It looks just like a modern, not a modern game, but you know, it looks great. And then when I press F9, it's going to switch to this, which looks a bit blurrier. It's a lower resolution. And the reason this is happening is because we're in software mode now, which uses exclusively my computer's CPU, and it does as close as it can to emulating the actual hardware of the PS2. And so this is more akin to what it'd look like if you were playing this on a PS2. And using the hardware mode will create a few bugs with the flashlight and the lighting when we get to darker areas, to the point where we won't be able to see anything at all. So I'll show you when we get there. But so in darker areas we need to use the software rendering mode. That's why it'll sometimes look worse there, just to explain it. So now we're going to follow the little girl. And you saw right there, writer and director Sam Barlow. So this game had a really troubled development. It started off with, after Silent Hill 1 through 4, Konami said, we want a game with a different feel. So Team Silent was disbanded, and they handed Silent Hill to a studio called Climax Studios in the United States. And it ended up sucking really badly. It was just awful. So they ended up giving it to a different branch of Climax Studios in the UK, which was headed by Sam Barlow, who's the designer, director, writer. And he basically rewrote the game from the ground up. They redid all the monsters, they redid the gameplay, because what it originally was like a Resident Evil 4 over-the-shoulder shooter, which is bizarre. You can see early videos of this if you look up. If you read about it on the wiki page or anything like that, and it looks really awful. Like, admittedly, it looks just awful, and the monsters look terrible, everything looked bad, even graphically, technically, it just looked bad. And so when they got it, they had only a limited amount of time and a limited budget, but they redid basically the entire game from scratch, and they ended up with this. And Sam Barlow is actually a really talented designer, writer, in my opinion. He also made Shattered Memories, which is considered to be, generally by fans, the a best game that wasn't 1 through 4. And so he did what he could with this one, and then he really shined in Shattered Memories. And originally this was for the PSP. It got ported to the PS2, which is the version I'm emulating here. And just one more note. This is I believe the first game that Tom Hewlett, who is reportedly, according to himself, the biggest Silent Hill fan of all time, despite hitting the HD collection port and everything, and how awful that turned out. Thankfully, he didn't seem to have too much of a hand in this. You see his hand more in Homecoming, when Sam Barlow was not there, and Homecoming is the worst Silent Hill game by far, and I will stand by that statement to my grave. Anyways, I think I've said all I wanted to say about the development of the game. Oh, there's one more thing. Before the British studio got this game, and when it was still a mess, an over-the-shoulder shooter mess, it was actually meant to be, according to Sam Barlow, a dark comedy. And the biggest inspiration, according to the original dev team, was Scrubs. I mean, everything about it was just off. It was just terrible. And so they went way too far for a different feel. And thankfully, they got their hands on this. And Sam Barlow's actually said he's just glad they got it before it could be an even bigger embarrassment to the franchise. Sam Barlow's a cool guy. He also made Her Story. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's a game where you go through interview clips for a police interview, and there's a murder or something like that, and it's a pretty interesting game. Not amazing, but it's interesting at the least. Anyways, let's head on. Run here, we'll see the iconic Welcome to Silent Hill sign. Looks gorgeous.
Not fog. It's smoke. My God. Someone's in there.
So that woman there smirked, of course, so we can assume it to be Dahlia, because Dahlia Gillespie started the fire, and we'll know it to be Dahlia because once we get upstairs here, we heard a girl screaming inside, so we'll be able to... Wait a second. Let's go back out. The burning girl is not too important. Take a look at this picture. You can see Pyramid Head there, of course. And most of the pictures in this house are just the same Horseman version of that. There's also a crucifixion portrait, of course. But let's go through here and let's see what we can do about this little girl who's going to burn alive. Let's run in here. Oops, I walked into the wall. These candles resemble the holy candles from Silent Hill 4, but they're just generic candles, so it's not that amazing. So this girl is looking pretty rough.
Coming with me.
This is, if you remember from Silent Hill 1, it's mentioned there was a fire at a house. And of course this is the fire that put Alyssa in the hospital. Where she was trapped in the basement with Lisa and forced to change her bandages for all time. So this is where the title Origins comes from, because this is a prequel game to Silent Hill 1. So we're going to walk out of the house with Alyssa, and we're going to fall through the floor, and somehow we're going to survive that. Not just survive it, but land like an action hero. And something interesting happens here, which is these fires, a Halo of the Sun symbol will show up and the fires will dissipate in front of us, letting us out pretty easily. And this is, of course, sort of a hint towards the fact that if you remember the magic of Alyssa, she just couldn't die from the fire. she lived even though there's no way medically she should have been alive. Let's see. I believe the door was over here. Yeah.
Safe now. Hey! Someone help her! Where is everyone? Where am I? Silent Hill. What happened last night? That girl. Did she make it? They would have taken her to the hospital. Kuntz Street. I need to see if she's okay.
Alright, so this is the map. Let's see if I can zoom out here. This is the map. This is you can actually get this as a wallpaper. I have it on my laptop. But this is the map. I believe that this is at least similar. I know that it's some of the streets are the same. I know it's at least similar to the map of Silent Hill 1, but I think there are some modifications, at least on a micro level, maybe not a macro, because some of the layout of Alchemilla Hospital changes just a little bit on the first floor, but from the first game, but it's no big deal. Anyways, so we have the map. We already took one, and we are now in the foggy streets of Silent Hill once again. And I tell you, after Silent Hill 4, although I love the game, it is really a pleasure to be back here. And we can explore for as long as we want, but ultimately we're just going to have to go to Alchemilla Hospital. Everything must go, closing down. We need to get to the hospital. And let's see if we can get a different camera view here. Yep. And of course the classic Silent Hill. Everything is torn apart, collapsed, you can't leave. I really like how this specific terror looks. It literally looks like the plates shifted and just tore them apart. It doesn't even look like it collapsed. It's pretty interesting. Anyways. There's quite a few things to see in the town, stores and so on. But if you watch my Silent Hill lore play, Silent Hill 1 lore play, it explains all of those really, because although the map is not exactly the same, the stores that we see are almost identical, like the Konami Burger. This, I believe, is the car model used in Silent Hill 2 for James's car. Not the exact same, but very close. Let's see if I can. So L1 will adjust my camera. That's useful. I believe it. Yeah, it just turns it to wherever Travis is looking. I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but our character is named Travis Grady. In the early days of this game, when it was first announced and everything, people would call him Travis O'Grady, but that was incorrect. Here we see, if you look up there, Konami Burger. You can almost see it on the sign. It's hard to get a good view of, unfortunately, but when I get here, you can see the K-O-N of it. And this is interesting because I talked about it before, but Konami Burger, and then we see a bunch of cardboard crates right here that say MSG, And of course, Konami's other big franchise is Metal Gear Solid. Cardboard boxes are in that game prominently, in all of those games prominently, I should say. Pretty iconic. If you don't know about that, you should probably play more video games, but you get the idea. There's quite a few items throughout town. There's a health drink here. A bunch of items we can collect. But let me check the map. Yeah, so it does do the classic cross everything off that we can't go to Silent Hill thing, which I appreciate. And so we're going to head to Alchemilla Hospital, which is right over here. And you'll remember, and I just want to say one thing about this game, is that it's a bit more linear, at least in the beginning, than the other Silent Hill games. As you can see, all paths have been pretty strictly crossed off, so we'll have to go to the hospital. But when we do get out of the hospital, we're going to come out here, which will let us explore the town a bit more, although it still tends to be pretty linear. Toluca Avenue, I don't remember if that's in Silent Hill 1, but Toluca, of course, is the lake, and that Silent Hill borders. There's Andy's bookshop. And before I go in the hospital, let's go across the street to the post office, because here there is a couple things worth mentioning. I know there's an item back here. Yep, a health drink on the dumpster. Now, I played this game years ago, so I don't remember much, but I was just testing out the emulators, so I know where some of the stuff is here. And if you remember in Silent Hill 1, we had to run up here during the nighttime to get upstairs, and we went in here inside the post office, and oh wow, I completely missed what that was. It was the key with the tag in the shape of a crescent moon, room 502 key. So this will come in handy much later. But if we look here, it says, looks like moths, of course referring to the things around the frame of the door. And this is interesting to me because when you come up here in the original Silent Hill, you go through this door and you end up going onto the roof of the building and fighting the float stinger, which was a giant moth. So of course it's a reference to that. Pretty neat. But let's head to the hospital here. Let me just go in the menu and show you some of the things that we have, which is when you finish the game in different ways, you get different things. The fire axe, I'm not sure how you get it, but the moon gauntlets you get for a good ending, and the great cleaver you get for the bad ending. Not to be confused with the great knife, but it's definitely very similar. And we're not going to use these just yet because the weapons do degrade in this game, unfortunately. You get a Tesla rifle, which is from the UFO ending. A weapon from another world. Infinite ammo. Let's take this out real quick. I've never actually used this. Seems handy. If we ever get in a pinch, we can use this weapon. And here are all of the outfits that are unlocked for doing different things throughout the game. Beating it quickly, getting a good ending, getting a bad ending, killing a certain amount of enemies, and so on. There's a bunch of different things. And we'll wear a bunch of them throughout the game just for fun. But there is one particular one I'd like to point out here, which is the Codebreaker outfit. Something I wore to a Halloween party. And if we put it on, it will, you can tell that it's very obviously Vincent, the hair and the glasses and the vest and the jacket and pants. It's Vincent from Silent Hill 3, which is pretty cool. There's a bunch of different outfits here. We can wear the fireman outfit. I don't remember what you get this for, but some of these outfits are really quite neat. Ambassador outfit, let's try that on. Also, let's unequip the Tesla rifle. Okay. I believe this is a Space Ambassador outfit. And then anyways, we've gone through quite a few here, so let's just do the, for now, the brawler outfit. Which is a nice luchador wrestling suit. I like it quite a bit. And this will be our outfit for a while. Until we're at the hospital, maybe. So nice music cue starts up when we get to the hospital. Good camera angle. And we'll walk in. Cool cola. Static TV. And the save symbol in this game is not a red square or a halo of the sun, but instead a triangle with an eye. And the triangle, of course, is the Flowros from Silent Hill 1, if you remember the little pyramid thing. It's also the save icon in the bottom right, or the loading icon, excuse me. And now let's just explore the hospital. This is the exam room. I know there's a map here that I think I forgot to grab. Yeah, the hospital map right here. And it's just the layout of the first floor is apparently different. I don't remember the exact difference, but it's no big deal. And then right here, under construction. Currently the second and third floors of the hospital are undergoing renovations. At this time they are closed to patients and visitors. Work continues in earnest and the hospital management thanks you for your continued cooperation as we try to minimize the disruption. We estimate the construction will be completed within 6 months. The restructuring of the third floor will almost double our capacity for inpatients and introduce cleaner, more modern facilities. Here at Alchemilla, the quality of care we provide to you, our valued patient, is of the utmost importance. Dr. Phillips, Chairman of Alchemilla Board. Excellent. So not much to say about that, really. And here we have when you use the D-pad, there's an auto-equip menu. And this is one of the first Silent Hill games in which you can actually use your fists. I believe it is the first. In Downpour you can do it too. And the Great Cleaver, a lot easier to handle than the Great Knife, Fire Axe. But all these weapons degrade, so I don't want to use them just yet. We're going to stay barehanded. And the exam room is locked, so we'll have to head through here. And stairs locked or broken. Men's room jammed. Women's room. We shouldn't go in there anyways. Broken. And the exit, I can't leave until I know what happened to that girl. So, nothing about this entire situation seems to tip off Travis that, something strange is going on. He's just wandering through an abandoned hospital with nobody staffing it, trying to find a little girl. And the music is slowly increasing in volume because we're about to get a cutscene.
Hey, you a doctor?
Can I help you?
That fire last night. The girl who was burned. Is she here?
A girl? We've received no new patients in the last day or so. Was she hurt?
She was burned all over.
Are you a relative? What did you say her name was?
I don't know her name. I was the one who saved her from the fire. She must have been brought here. Is there another hospital?
I'm sorry. Perhaps someone in reception could help you. I have urgent business to attend to. Goodbye.
So despite floor 2 being under construction, he still went up there for some reason. So let's call the elevator and let's follow after him. A dirty gurney, someone just left it here. That man is someone we do know, but I won't reveal it before the game does. And I believe this is the same, essentially the same floor choosing menu as you get in Silent Hill 1, being that it's the same elevator. Basement is broken. We're on the first floor, so no point going there. 3 is broken, so we just have to follow the guy. And here is where you see what's wrong with the hardware mode of the game. Obviously it's essentially unplayable, because this is a dark room and we're using the flashlight. We can't see anything. So we're going to go into software mode. It's a bit more blurry. You can see it still looks weird. It's because it takes until the next loading screen to fully transition. So we have to go through the door. Excuse me.
Yes? You okay? What?
Here we get our first introduction to an enemy. We got a hammer. Let's switch to the hammer and try to kill her. And this is the first Silent Hill game with QTEs. Thankfully, they're not too plentiful, as long as you play the game correctly. So we'll beat her I was trying to speak ruthlessly. And of course, this is following the recurring theme of nurses being enemies in Silent Hill games. This one is called the Faceless Nurse. It resembles greatly the Bubblehead Nurse, or Bubble. I don't remember. I believe it's a Bobblehead or Bubblehead. I have no clue. From Silent Hill 2, and they are faceless, of course, as the name would tell you. And they usually walk around with syringes, or sometimes they have scalpels, and they'll try to attack you, stab you. They wear high heels and I believe stockings. I'm not sure what the actual term is. Maybe thigh highs. I'm not an expert on women's fashion, unfortunately. And these represent a few things, mainly Travis's issues with sexual anxiety, which is hinted at throughout the game. We'll have more hints of that as we go. But suffice to say, there's a reason that they don't just do the Silent Hill twitch effect, but they actually like shake. They shake as though, you know, someone is very anxious. They will shake. And these, of course, they expose their cleavage. They're very sexually charged, much like the nurses in Silent Hill 2, as opposed to the ones in 1 or 3. So, just interesting to note. This is our first enemy. And, again, not that much creativity. Not that it's a bad design, it's just, you know, it's a nurse. It's a Silent Hill nurse. You can't blame them, though. The game needed it. But we seem to have nowhere to go except for into room 205. So let's look around room 205. Let's look in the medicine cabinet full of drugs I don't recognize. It's another dirty gurney stained with blood. Some of it still seems wet. And here we have, oops, the holding down the button seems to be, I opened the wrong one, is a bit sketchy in this game. So let's read what the report says. Preliminary diagnosis, 3rd degree burns, patient is unconscious. Something has prevented damage spreading to the internal organs. Tissue damage is limited to the epidermis and extremities of limbs. How is this possible? Of course, referring to the little girl that we're looking for, Alyssa. Something is preventing her from being severely burned, at least internally. Let's look around just a bit here. Medical charts mean nothing to me. And of note, there's a mirror here. And you'll notice the other side looks a lot dirtier. There's something wrong with the mirror. The reflection isn't right. Something wrong with it is kind of an understatement. But there's nothing to do about that now. Let's check out this. Tropical diseases, baby vitamins, flu shots, that kind of stuff. Let's leave. And suddenly, Alyssa will be there. And she will leave for us a nice little red handprint. And don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain that this is the mechanic that is in Homecoming as well. Which is the handprint on the mirror that you use. And Alyssa's still there, as you can see. And the reflection.
Girl from the fire. How did you... I'm seeing things. This ain't right.
This ain't right. So now the other side is clean, and we are on the dirty side. There's a scalpel on the bed. And now we are in the more traditional Silent Hill world. Some plastic lungs here. And there's a box that says something on it. It's like brother or something like that. And of course we see the chain link fence texture right there. Because we are in the bloody, rusty version of Silent Hill, known famously as the Other World. And now we check this cabinet, we got a health drink. And when we explore the hospital now, everything will cease to be dandy and instead be hellish. There's a giant padlock on the door. And we have another nurse here now. Oh, I missed her. So let's just beat her up. We can actually charge up our attacks. If you know what I just realized is our vibration is on, and it seems to be pretty loud. If it picks up on the mic, I will make sure to shut it off next time I record. So I'm sorry if that's picking out too loud. There is a chance you can't hear it at all, though. So now we are in a more traditional Silent Hill environment with a map, enemies, and a whole hospital to explore. So let's do just that. And even more traditional about the environment is that most of the doors are broken. Now this is something about Silent Hill that I appreciate is that in games like Resident Evil, you kind of need a more strange environment, i.e. the mansion in Resident Evil 1, where it's, you know, it's an evil mansion that's made by evil people, and it's a very odd mansion with a laboratory underneath it. It's not really an everyday location. And in Silent Hill 2, or in Silent Hill in general, you can kind of circumvent that because the other world and the magic of the town gives you an excuse to have every door be broken. Whereas in Resident Evil, you kind of need to design it so that most of the doors will open and not just every door is broken, which means either you go through the work of modeling every single room in a normal, like hospital or house or apartment building environment, or you make a very strange mansion in which there's only so many doors that you can go through. Not to say that either is better or worse, or one is more lazy than the other. They're just different approaches. But it's an interesting contrast I've noticed as I've been playing Resident Evil 1 lately. Alright, so let's see. We have the whole hallway on the left here to explore. Let's go ahead and do that. Lock is broken. Oh, this door opens. And there is a golden egg and a bloody table and a note. Parts of the note are obscured. Worry not, censored. I have used the censored to contain her power. No one will come to her aid. Censored, censored, censored. One of the 5 something. Hide them, protect them. Interesting. Use the what to contain her power. Of course referring to Alessa. I won't spoil what it is exactly, but you can probably guess if you played or watched me play Silent Hill 1. And now that I left that room, I'm getting a slight static on the radio. So I believe there's a new enemy here. This room is pretty bloody. And this heart of mine troubles me with its trembling. To still it I have put it on ice and locked it away. Remember, the 3 beauties who cause it to pump so are the key. Age before beauty. The medical icebox with a lock. Take a look. Yes. And there's a code here. It doesn't seem to be 5555. So we're gonna have to find a code for that. So let's see if it's marked on our map or if we have to remember. Yeah, it is. Alright. Great. So it would appear all we can do now is head downstairs. Let me check the map to make sure. Yep. I'm just going to have to head downstairs. Excuse me, Miss Nurse. And this is a more traditional Silent Hill industrial track, which you hear less of in 2 and 3, and even especially 4, but it's because this is more connected to Silent Hill 1, we get more of a Silent Hill 1 dreamlike, but at the same time more heavily industrial soundtrack. Silent Hill 1's soundtrack, although they're all by, most of them, I mean, Downpour is by a different person, although they're all by Akira Yamaoka, the soundtracks have subtle differences. They seem to be pretty industrial and more like a noise soundtrack. Our sledgehammer broke. More of a noise kind of musical thing than a dreamlike state. Although there is some of that in, we had an alcohol bottle, in Silent Hill 1. But the more you progress from 2 to 3 to 4, the more everything seems to be more, I don't know about traditional musically, but more dreamlike. I think it's more layers than just pounding metal and industrial noise. So there's a door back there we can use, but I'm going to check. Oh, there's an oval depression in the door. Underneath is a plaque which reads, "Even in this inferno, from out of the flames, I saw life born anew." There's also a door over here we missed, which has a big face on it. It says, "There's a death mask on the door." Underneath is a plaque which reads, "Even the blind have need of eyes if they wish to gaze at the future." Interesting. So let's go ahead and use, if we have it here, our golden egg, because life is born anew, which implies we can use an egg here, if we can find it. Ornate golden egg. I used the golden egg. Now we can enter the door. And we can use the mirror here, even though it's not, there's no handprint. We can use it to go back to the more normal world. I wouldn't call it the real world, but the fog world. And back to the other world. And before I use that, I just want to check everything here. Having trouble with your anatomy class? Find that getting them out is much easier than putting them back in. Just remember this easy mnemonic. Inside Stevie, little Henry lurks. And the first 2 letters of each word are highlighted in red. And this is to give us a hint. Sorry while I readjust. To give us a hint of the order in which we need to place certain items later on. We already got a pair of plastic lungs, and it's telling us essentially how to place them when we find the model that holds them. Cistern lid is loose. Let's remove it. And inside the toilet is a plastic liver. Fair enough. So now that we have that, we can go to the real world. Or fog world, excuse me. And what's interesting about I actually really like this mechanic because it creates so that you have the same building and everything. We got an energy drink. But you can actually use different mirrors in different places. So now if I were to leave the room, I would find that the hallway we were just in is all different, which is pretty cool. Someone has written on the door, it says Amy 31. And there's a staff lounge key on this toilet. Now Amy 31, what could that mean? Well, I don't even really know, because I haven't played this game in years. So I'll have to figure it out. But we just got out of the women's bathroom on the first floor. So we got the staff lounge key. Let's see if we can find the staff lounge. We'll have to zoom in so I can tell. Alright, so it'll be through the door behind us, directly ahead. Yep, so the door right here. This is a really nice camera angle here. Just old textbooks, reports, and magazines. Nothing I need. An energy drink. And just some couches. There's a note here. Construction. As you know, the renovations to the upper floors have run into problems. The plumbing leak and substandard materials used have forced us to close off the third floor until further notice. We are reminded of the familiar adage, you get what you pay for. We now face 6 more months of work, reducing our capacity for the coming year. We will have to cut spending on inpatient care and consultancy fees by 50%. Therefore, we ask doctors to refrain from committing patients and encourage home stays instead, unless they're dying in your arms. Don't book them in. Staff party. Worry not, the staff party is still on. Our recreation budget is locked away where no one can tamper. Everyone meet at Annie's Bar, 8 p.m. on Friday. Alcohol, medicinal of course, and food will be free. Arrive early to grab a trainee nurse. They go quick. Annie's Bar is a location in Silent Hill 1, if you remember. So, nothing really to see here, except for this Lucy 23. Amy 31 and Lucy 23. And we got a toaster. And the exam room key was inside that mug. And one thing I really like about this game is there are items that you really don't expect to be able to use as weapons that you can. So, you can actually just bash women with nurses, or bash women with toasters, which is pretty funny. Or, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, there's some funny stuff in the game, especially considering our outfit. So, let's keep moving here. We now have, you know what, let's try going downstairs, because, oh wait, what was the key we got? Exam room, that's it. So the exam room is, I believe it's over here, yeah. It's in the lobby of the hospital. So let's run around with our toaster until we can find the exam room. Oh, that was strange. Yeah, it'll be through here. Alright. Inside we go. And here we will find the doll, plastic anatomy doll, missing some parts. And here we can place our parts appropriately. But we don't want to do that just yet. But there's a certain order, that mnemonic phrase helped us, and we don't have the rest of the parts, so we don't want to put them all in just yet. We got the plastic stomach, plastic intestine. There's a light box on the wall. If we turn it on, someone has written X-ray. It says Sarah 19. So 31 23 19. There's a little note here. To all staff, it is forbidden to enter my office unaccompanied until further notice. Dr. Kaufman. Dr. Kaufman, the hardcore doctor from we got a typewriter. So we can use this now as well. Kaufman is the doctor, head doctor from Silent Hill 1. And we got more parts, but I don't think we have all of them. Yeah, I think we're missing one or two. This is the stomach, I believe. Or maybe this is the pancreas. I didn't get time to read the caption correctly. But, oops. Oh, is there another organ on the way? We'll just leave those parts in for now. And we'll go find the rest of them. Door is sealed up. Okay. So, our journey now is to hopefully find the rest of the parts. We're not allowed to enter Dr. Kaufman's office unaccompanied. But, so I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly where we need to go here. But I think new places might have opened up on the elevator. Nope. No. Okay. So we will figure this out. No worries. I believe we need, we have 4 parts. If we look at the notes, it'll tell us. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I believe Henry is the heart. We just need to find the heart. And where that is, I'm unsure. So actually, let's head back down, because I don't think we're going to find it on the 2nd floor. We're just going to end up running to places we've already been. So, I'm sure I missed in one of these rooms. If it takes too long, as usual, I will cut the video, but I don't think it'll take me too long to find it. I'm sure I just missed it somewhere simple. Oh wait, I know what it is. So, these different codes, this reminds me. So if we go up to floor 2, there was the room with the little icebox, and it had a code on it. And I believe the different names are meant to show us the code. If we take them in alphabetical order, it's Amy 31, Lucy 23, and something, I don't remember the name exactly, 19. So, if we just switch worlds here, Travis can barely, he just can't bear to look at himself in the mirror while he's wielding a toaster inside in a luchador outfit. So let's go find that icebox. It's in room 204. So, it's going to be through here and to the right. I missed it. Alright. It's up here. Yeah, here it is. And you can hear the heartbeat in the room, which is a good hint. 31, 23, 19. Perfect. That'll give us the plastic art. So now we just need to head downstairs and go back to the plastic model. See if we can get past her. Yep. Oh, excuse me. What a bitch. Okay. Okay. Now we can find the room again, the exam room. We'll see if my memory serves me. It's right here. Which means we can take a look at the mnemonic again. It will be inside Stevie, yeah. So, intestines, and then stomach, then the liver, then the heart, then the lungs. Okay. I'll try to memorize all that. Take all these out. Intestines, stomach, liver, heart, lungs. Intestines. This is the stomach. Liver. This must be the heart. And these are the lungs. Oh, and his eyes opened. The doll's eyes have opened. And what does that do exactly? I have no clue. I know it did something. But I don't know what. Wait. This is obvious. We need to go in the women's bathroom, as usual. One of my favorite things to do. And we'll go back out in the hallway because the mask door, now that the eyes have opened, and they even the deaf or the blind need eyes to see the something world. And we open the eyes. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, excuse me. I don't think I need that vaccination. So I goofed up a little bit here. I think we have to grab the doll's eyes. I figured the doll opening his eyes was enough, but I guess that was incorrect. The nurse lunging at us unequipped my toaster, unfortunately. Oh, she just took my toaster. I guess I'll have to use this comically large bottle of alcohol. It's not this way. It's not ready. Jesus. The camera's a little bit goofy here. But I'll figure it out. Now let's just snatch this dude's eyes out. Like in Kill Bill. Then we can pop him in the door. It's eerily quiet in this version of the hospital. It's almost more comforting to have enemies around because of the music. The eerie silence of the empty Fog World Hospital really gets to me. So, let's go back over here and use our eyes. That'll let us through the door. Let's see what this bottle of alcohol can do. One hit. That's pretty funny. Uh-oh, another one. Let's try and run around her. There's a door here. And from this point on, I have not played it in years. I tested this a couple months ago and got up to almost this point, but she's been cut open and her eyes are missing. What kind of monster could have done this? Ooh, that's pretty good actually. This is a play on what we were doing to the doll, cutting her open, playing with the parts, taking the eyes. That's pretty good. I like that. The scalpel. You should try and remember this. The cut open girl here with the eyes missing. There's a weird little hell door right here. Here we have a new enemy. Oh man. So this is not a mashing thing, but instead let's take a minute and figure out what weapon to use. This enemy, although it resembles very closely the lying figure, is actually called the straitjacket, and it has a few subtle differences. The main one is that it's not nearly as sexualized. It doesn't have the red clicky boots, it doesn't have the pronounced female butt, and it doesn't spray acid at you. Instead it wraps its legs around you and then forces acid into your face. And it's not the lying figure, it's got a different meaning. Essentially, Travis has a fear of the mentally ill. He has some issues with mental illness in his family, and he's scared of asylums, he's scared of mentally ill people, basically, and the straitjacket shows that. And of course, because he's afraid of mentally ill people, we will end up going to an asylum later on. And I equipped a weapon. I'm gonna heal myself really quickly though. Alright. And let's kill this. Oh gosh. So this is a little QTE sequence we need to do here to get him off of us. He made me drop my alcohol bottle. I'll just have to beat him with my fist. So his color is a lot different from the lying figure. His textures are different, and it's more of a straitjacket, whereas the lying figure just kind of has his hands put together, and he's kind of more. He looks more trapped than like in an actual straitjacket, because the lying figure is not meant to be a straitjacket. Although it resembles it, the design is actually meant to show. It's meant to show somebody who's kind of trapped in a small area and is shaking, as in is in their death throes, basically is very sick and in their death throes on their deathbed, which is what Mary was like in Silent Hill 2. So the meaning is entirely different, although the design is obviously similar. And here we have a Halo of the Sun and a future piece. That's a little pyramid.
What is this? You. What was that thing? This isn't happening.
Are you okay? Sorry, did I startle you? My name is Lisa. I'm a trainee here. Are you waiting for someone?
No. No, I'm just... Well, I'm done here. Name's Travis. Nice to meet you, Lisa.
You sure you're okay? You look a little shaken up. Sorry.
No, it's okay. To be honest, I've been a little off all day. I was in a fire last night. I think it boiled my brain a little.
The fire in the business district? How awful. I heard about that. No one knows how it got started. And that poor girl, Alessa Gillespie, to die like that.
Alessa? She died?
Yes. Sorry, did you know her?
No. But... never mind.
Well, I have to run. Dr. Kaufman wants to meet me over at Cedar Grove Sanitarium, and he'll be mad if I'm late. Maybe see you around? Take it easy, Travis.
You too, Lisa.
So there we meet Lisa Garland. from Silent Hill 1. And in this game, she's a lot less demure. She's a lot less just kind of sweet and innocent, and she's more flirty. She's very flirtatious. She's sultry and so on. And the difference is, one of the biggest issues a lot of people have with this game is they really like Lisa, and this game sort of retcons her character in a way, although it's arguable for certain lore reasons. I won't get into spoilers whether or not this is the real Lisa, or if the Silent Hill 1 Lisa is the real Lisa, if it's a simple retcon, or if it's something to do with the town and how it's reflecting from Travis's sexual anxiety and issues with women and men and so on. So it's really hard to say. But yeah, we've met Lisa, and she's going to go meet Dr. Kaufman at the Cedar Grove Sanitarium. Of course, what happened in there is we got a piece from what appears to be the Flauros, and we met Alessa once again, and she put us out cold, unfortunately, and we woke up in the hospital. So, let's head back out into Silent Hill and see what we can do now.